thanks to a do-nothing Congress and resist Trump Democrats. Joining me now from Phoenix, Arizona, investigative journalist Kimberly Devora. Kimberly, thanks for being here. There's a lot to chew on here. First, let's start with the predictable rabid left. They came out to protest against Trump. We knew they were going to be there. And it looks like Phoenix police had a pretty good handle on the situation. Only a few arrests. A couple people got treated for heat exhaustion. And, it was very hot outside. It was like 100 degrees in Arizona. I'm from there. I know how brutal the summer heat can be. So the turnout wasn't as great as some expected.
Well, I'll tell you, the turnout was unbelievable. It was about 110 degrees, and even when the sun was going down, it was still in the hundreds. And there were, I would say probably somewhere 20, 30,000 people who were still waiting in line during the entire event. And they were waiting patiently in a line, knowing they were not going to get into the event. Yet they sat in line and watched from their cell phones and cheered the president on. And, we saw a lot of misreporting. And I just want to kind of harken back a little bit to what happened in Cleveland when the Republicans had their convention. There was a lot of reporting that there was going to be a lot of, violence, and, the police were going to be, in danger. And I was there and reported for One America, and it wasn't like that. It was like a big love fest. The police were so sad when they said they had to go because they'd never been treated so well in their entire life. But the mainstream media got on and said, oh, there was this and there was that, and that never took place. And last night, I was in the area where all those protesters were. I interviewed the protesters. Not once did I ever fear that my life was ever in danger. And for the most part, everybody was very cordial, very nice. And, in interviewing people and in interviewing someone from a conservative network, they were very pleased. They were very adamant about why they didn't like Trump. They were very committed, but, some of them may not have understood, what actually impeachment requires. But, at least they were there and they were talking. The violence, there was no violence, period. I mean, once everybody was left, the cops said, okay, this is the end. Everybody needs to go. I was there. I walked on the streets with nobody on my way back to the hotel.
Yeah, Kimberly, when I said the turnout wasn't great, I meant for the counter protesters. I heard that there wasn't as many as they were expecting. And we have video of, footage of what was going on there. And it looked like there were some violent, altercations there. Maybe that wasn't as violent as some of the protests in the past. And obviously police did make a couple arrests. Like I mentioned, there weren't a lot of injuries. But what do you think about Trump's messaging? He revisited Charlottesville, and the left, they're in a tizzy about, him targeting the media, and also for him, and some on the right are upset that he relitigated Charlottesville.
Yeah. Well, I think, when you see what the reporting is like from all the pundits, and, we can be honest, CNN, Fox News included now, they're all like misquoting the president or saying half a sentence and forgetting to report on the second half of his sentence. And, when I interviewed and waited in line and talked to these people outside of Phoenix, let me tell you, these people are as enthusiastic today as the day they were that they voted for Donald Trump for president. These people are not worried about the pundits on TV. They're not worried. And, in fact, the majority of them just think journalists are liars. And they just think that when they go home and they watch what the TV puts on and they find like one or two like bad apples and they focus the entire segment on that, they realize that's not what's being reported. And, if the election were held today, I've gone to several rallies during the primaries and the general, and I'm telling you, this man has support from the people that are out here. He doesn't really have to do the red meat, but, he does it. And I think that, we have to look at the polls. And I think that he's underpolling as he did in the election.
Yeah, I was going to say I saw some polling today, and it showed that support for Trump was tanking. But who believes the polls? I mean, we saw this during the election, and you just can't believe them, especially when he's filling up, large stadiums. People are waiting in line in 100-degree heat to see him. So, we can't believe them. Now, the theme of the trip was border security. He made a stop in Yuma first. He's the first president to visit the Yuma sector since 2007, which was George W. Bush, who went to go oversee this massive fence project. So what did we learn from this, his trip with border officials, and when in regards to the border wall and security?
Yeah, well, I think that, what he's seen, and you and I both know, you've been in Yuma, that, the border wall works there. And the Border Patrol agents that are there say the same thing. And this is something to what, also with Sheriff Joe in Arizona, he's been advocating for a similar fence in and along all of Arizona's border as well. And I spoke to Sheriff Joe about the border and the specific issues on that. And he said that we can't get that soon enough. I mean, that's just a major critical factor in securing our borders and actually protecting the people that live in this country lawfully. He was a little saddened. I think that he wasn't going to get a pardon, but he said when I spoke to him, that, he said that he supports President Trump yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and realizes that, he made a choice to not be the story when the president came to Phoenix, because he wanted the president's message to be the story, not himself. So he was he did the right thing on that, I believe.
Well, and Sheriff Arpaio has a couple options moving forward. Legally speaking, they're looking for a jury trial rather than just, a liberal activist judge. So they're going to try to go that route. And of course, if that doesn't work, then possibly the president will give him a pardon, since he did signal and hint that he might do that. Well, Kimberly, we're going to have to leave it here. Thank you. Coming up next.